all coming together, people. Remember, my mother has been schizophrenic for the past 36 years. I am psychologically disabled. We were living in close quarters, okay? She doesn't want anyone to think that she does anything wrong or anything. She would go to her psychologist and just act like I yell at her for no reason, like she does nothing wrong, and he believed it. That's why he was hostile towards me in February when I could see my mom break in. I know her history. I've been dealing with it since I was a little girl. He wouldn't listen to me, and then I subsequently went through those 8 days of hell where she destroyed her own house, okay? And in the end, I was right. You know, she needed to be hospitalized. She should have been hospitalized 8 days prior. And I had to hear her going around, you called the police on me for no reason. I should call the police on you, okay? Talk about giving the keys to the inmates in the asylum, okay? Her psychologist wrote her a letter that she's perfectly capable of handling all her personal and financial affairs, okay? The latter part is definitely not true, okay? My entire family, including cousin or whatever, would agree upon that, okay? Auntie, cousin, me, that is not true. He wrote her a letter stating such. She waved it around all arrogantly, read it to me, read it to my cousin, okay? He's the same one. I just listened to my cousin's message again, the one that Uncle, you know, when Uncle called her. They're all in cooperation. They didn't have to accuse me of anything because Auntie sent a whole bunch of emails to my mom's lawyer, okay? That's why when cousin called me, she told me, Mom's lawyer, those people in the hospital, remember the ones that I'm telling them that, you know, they're not honoring the HIPAA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm trying to do best by my mother, you know, what she wanted when she was not locked up in the hospital and what she wants afterwards is perfectly fine, see? And the elder service is all in cahoots, okay? All in cahoots. So that is what happened. And I think when my cousin talked to me over the phone too, she mentioned my mom's psychologist. All in cahoots, okay? That's what's going on here. That's what's going on. Going after Auntie over, you know, but they see the rift in the family going after Auntie, the financial, and me. She's emotionally abusive to her mother, okay? Well, you know what? My mother's psychologist is equal rank with my therapist, and when I showed her that letter, when I read it to her, okay? Because, yeah, I got my hands on it. Because I was inflamed over because my mom's talking about driving again. And I know that she shouldn't be driving. She shows signs of pre-dementia. I lived with her for over a year. I know she shouldn't be driving. It doesn't mean she belongs in a nursing home. It just means that she can't pay her own bills or whatnot, but handle her major finances and drive and everything like that. No, okay? But he gave her that, and she waved it around arrogantly, just like she would go and talk to him, okay? And she would come home. My psychologist, you know, she acts like I yell at her for no reason whatsoever, okay? I have problems. She is schizophrenic. He gives her that little letter like she's perfectly fine. And of course she's all proud of it and reads it to me and my cousin, and I get upset. Because in her eyes, she can drive. And she wants to drive. She doesn't want to be dependent on other people, okay? She's backed up by, and remember, he doesn't like me, of course. He doesn't like me. He gave my mom that letter, so he loves my mom to death and blah, 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 whatever, okay? So, you know, they're having a field day with all of it. They're having a field day with all of it. She went against Auntie when she's perfectly well, and he gave her the letter to prove it, okay? They're all in cahoots, and then she would tell him, and she would never say that she was at fault for anything. I know that for a fact. Just like when I called the police on her justifiably in tears and whatnot, and then he blew me off, and they decided nothing was wrong with her, and then I knew, and she got worse and worse and worse, okay? She was going around saying, you called the police on me for no reason. I should call the police on you. Telling her friends, telling everybody, okay? No prisoners, regardless of the outcome. This is a bullshit, and I will someday, you know, quotations, God willing, if I manage to stay alive, I will be taking no prisoners. I will be writing a very long, very detailed autobiography because this is ridiculous. I am psychologically disabled. She has been schizophrenic since I was 10 years old. We lived in close quarters together, okay? That does not equate to I am emotionally abusive to my mother. Her psychologist is incompetent. My therapist, who's equal rank with him, okay, said he should never have never wrote in that letter to whom it may concern. She asked me do you want me to report him or see about reporting him to the ethics community, okay? All right? Yeah, I see it so clearly. Told you, it's you know, and they pounced. They pounced. No prisoners, baby. Regardless of the outcome, regardless of the verdict, no prisoners, okay? I have problems. My mother's been schizophrenic since I was 10 years old, okay? We do the best we can dealing with each other. There's still a shitload of love there. It wasn't her that reported me, because she wouldn't, you see? But between you know, I know exactly. Remember, I was accused in the hospital of everything, you know, being pushed by my cousin. My mom was told to send every single email that Auntie sent to my mom to her lawyer. And that's why cousin later said they're all in cahoots, okay? And the bottom line is to take my mother away from her family and make her a fucking ward of the state. No prisoners, people. Regardless of this. Regardless. Autobiography, very long, very detailed, no prisoners. And obviously my autobiography, I have my name and names, okay? Because this is a fucking joke and a half. A joke. A joke. Period. It's a joke, okay? It's a joke. It's a joke. That's the bottom line. It's a joke. Okay? It's a joke. Period. Period. It's a joke. And I see it so clearly. I listened to her message again, but I remembered it anyway. I just didn't know if she mentioned the psychologist. I think she did in a conversation, though. Remember, he loved my mom to death. He just believes every word that comes out of her mouth, and then he writes her the friggin' letter. Writes her that friggin' letter. She's perfectly fine, okay? And then he has me accusing him because he didn't do his job. You know, he didn't forward the correct HIPAA info, so I'm going to go after, you know, him. And, oh, yeah, so, yeah, they're having a field day. A field day with this. A fucking field day. No prisoners. All I have left, I have no money. Obviously, I can't get a high and mighty, you know, pricey lawyer. My ability to succinctly communicate my thoughts and feelings. And I will be writing a very detailed, very long autobiography someday, providing, you know, I manage to stay alive long enough to be and have some sort of ability, you know, some sort of peace, some sort of stability to write said book. The fucking end.